I want to share with you some stories of some people that are being impacted by this moratorium today. This isn't about a study or a theory. This is about real lives, real jobs, people worried about how to pay their bills. Let me start with Lori Davis. Lori Davis is the owner of a company called RigChem. RigChem is a family-owned chemical manufacturing and distribution company. They've served the energy industry for 3 decades. They're a small business. Their deep water drilling clients accounted for over 70% of their business. Through hard work, they're able to become a competitor. They finally thought they'd gotten security in their company. Then the moratorium hit. Lori says she's all about forgotten plans for expansion and remodeling. They can't even think about that anymore. She said her employees include her family members. She's scared. She doesn't know what tomorrow might bring. Initially, the company went through what they called hurricane mode, thinking they'd be able to bounce back quickly like they'd done before during storms. But soon they realized that was the wrong mentality. She said, I'm going to quote, when you know that you're going to have to face, you know what you're having to face, you can fight those battles. And you know what you're having to face, you can fight those battles. But now we're fighting the battle against the government, against people that are supposed to help and protect us in difficult times. She said they don't have any debt. They've never been dependent on anybody else to support themselves. But due to the moratorium and the company's uncertainty, she has had to go to the bank to establish a line of credit to hopefully ensure the future of her company. Lori says she will never forget the day she watched boatloads of equipment coming in from offshore recently after they had likely demobilized a rig. She said, and I quote, it's a helpless feeling watching all that come back in when you know there is nothing you have done to cause this, nothing you can do to change it, but keep talking about it and hope that people understand. Lori is here today. Lori, please stand up, and we're going to put her picture up. There she is. Give Lori a round of applause. Lori, the people of Louisiana are going to stand with you today. We understand. We understand this moratorium that a federal judge has called arbitrary and capricious is now not right. Lori's company is working to change its focus, creating more of an international business focus, but they're having to think about sending their employees overseas to keep jobs, to keep their jobs. I want you to think about that. Small family-run businesses having to think about during a national recession sending jobs overseas because of this moratorium. We need to tell Washington, D.C., don't send our jobs overseas because of your moratorium. Keep these jobs in Louisiana, keep these jobs in the Gulf Coast. Let me tell you a second story. Corey Keefe is the president of Offshore Towing. Offshore Towing, Inc. is a consortium of 4 companies on the roads. They move drilling rigs in shallow water. Even though they operated in shallow water, they're being affected by the de facto moratorium going on in shallow water, whereby the federal government has reduced permits almost to a halt. Corey told us about mass confusion with the federal regulators. He said he can't plan. There's too much uncertainty in the permitting process. He's already laid off 1 employee, fears for the future. He says right now it's a short-term problem, but if they don't resolve these issues quickly, it's going to be a long-term problem. That means having to tie up equipment and sending people home. He says they're looking at that possibility every day. Corey is also here with us today. Corey, please stand. Corey's right here. You're going to see him on the Jumbotron. Give Corey a round of applause. As you think about Corey's plight, I went to federal court. I went to the appellate court to hear the arguments. You know what I heard the federal judge ask the government? They asked the federal government, did you even consider the economic damages caused by your moratorium? You would think they're putting tens of thousands of people out of work. There's only one obvious answer to that question. I was stunned when the attorneys for the federal government said, no, that was not a part of their deliberations. They didn't even think about people like Corey when they made their decision for this moratorium. One more reason we need the federal government to do their job so thousands of people like Corey don't lose our jobs here in Louisiana. One third and final example, Dwayne Rebstock is the CEO of All Port Services. They opened their doors as a logistics brokerage company in Port Fourchon in October. When I saw our people take in strangers during Gustav the night and commit to rebuilding the state, I was never more proud than during this entire oil spill crisis when I've seen coastal fishermen, coastal workers, coastal residents stand together united as one state, saying, Governor, we're going to win this war. We're going to get back out on that water. We're going to go fishing again. We're going to make energy for the rest of this country. We're going to feed and fuel this country. People don't understand why we're so passionate. We had to fight the red tape and bureaucracy to go out there and get those jackup barges out. We had to fight the red tape and bureaucracy to go and fight the oil 15, 20 miles off our coast. We had to educate the people in Washington, D.C. This is our way of life. This isn't some theory. This isn't something you read about in a paper. This is our way of life. We've been doing this for generations. Our parents and our grandparents have taught us how to make a living off these waters. And it is important for us to be able to teach our own children, our own grandchildren, how to continue to do that. But it's not just important for us. It is important for America that Louisiana continues to produce oil and gas and seafood and continues to harvest the rich bounty out of these Gulf waters. It is important for America that we get back to work. So I want to close with this. I've got one message to the President of the United States. I've got one message to the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. It's very simple. We don't want a BP check. We don't want an unemployment check. Let us go back to work. Join me in saying that message to D.C. Let me hear you say it. Let us go back to work. 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 We don't want an unemployment check. Let us go back to work. God bless you. God bless Louisiana. God bless the United States of America. Let us go back to work.